Good day, my dear ones. It is cold here in Florida. It got down to 42, 43 last night. Now, I know some of you are in the zeros, probably in the 20s, but for Florida, that's freezing. So I hope you're keeping warm. Hard to keep warm eating raw foods, isn't it? That's because it's a tropical thing. You know, and when you get up into colder climates, nothing grows in the winter, and it's obvious. So it's hostile to the human survival. Although we've learned techniques, of course, stuff like that to survive that. But it's always a pleasure to come to you. But you know, on this world, remember, there are always the two sides of the Force. I remember in Star Wars, and Obi-Wan Kenobi was saying, "Trust the Force, Luke. Trust the Force." And I'm thinking to myself, which one? Because we live in duality, and even though there's only the one Creator. Not like a panel of creators, one creator, but multiple divisions and individualities, and just, I mean, this planet, even though very chemical, can be very pretty. It's interesting how antiquated and barbaric humans can be this late date in their evolution. But I do believe that finally the mind is running up against itself, and I think that that's part of what hopefully will change, especially with all you beautiful souls, is introducing this planet to consciousness. I mean, it's been introduced from Buddhism to Jesus. The Essenes, the Gnostics, all talked about consciousness, awareness. And that's the only place to be and the only place to seek, if you have to seek anything. And it doesn't elude you because it's ever present. We were talking about this in another video, that the only reason you can't see truth is your mind. It's the only reason. And I want to read you something to show you this. And we see this all the time, but you just always see stuff like this. And this comes from, and you can tell the way this article is written, that this is an elitist mentality. This is a very narcissistic mentality, and unfortunately a very ignorant mentality that needs to leave this planet. Because these type of mentalities we have to change. And universities are promoting this. Med schools are promoting the elitist syndrome. And it's very sad to see that. Very sad to see that our universities are promoting academics at a level that exceeds man's spirituality and therefore builds narcissism, separation in the wrong way. This is an article, again, Health and Well-Being, The Observer. One of you sent it to me. It says, you can't detoxify your body. It's a myth. So how do you get healthy? Right off, those that are unaware can be sucked into this level of ignorance, because detoxification is something that is a constant factor in nature. This guy has no clue about nature. He's lived in the mental worlds too long, and that breeds extreme separation. And so this guy is some doctor, Edzard Ernest, from some freaking university no one ever heard of, and he's supposedly the professor of complementary medicine. Now, I don't know if this is true, but let's assume this article is true, because someone wrote it. And whoever wrote it had extreme constipation. And whoever wrote this has a long road to evolve. It's just, you can tell by the way they're looking at this. So, excuse me. There are two types of detox. Well, he just said there's no detox. One is respectable and the other isn't. The respectable one, he says, is the medical treatment of people with life-threatening drug addictions. You know, this guy is so lost in his own field that he just can't see truth. And the sad thing is that this individual impacts other people's thinking. Bad karma. And if this individual knew what that would mean to him, karmatically, back away real quick. It's kind of like the Goober guy, the elitist thinkers who said the American people are stupid. Well, they're not stupid, they're just apathetic. They don't want to be bothered. We've got Arlington Cemetery full of dead people. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of soldiers, men and women, died to fight for a republic, and then the American people elect a socialist. You have to understand that the American people are kept that way, as in other countries. Governments love to keep their people ignorant. And that's not how you run governments. Because the government is of the people for the right? No. Only a few people in the world run governments. Only a handful. And most of you are aware of those Illuminati type people? Absolutely. And all of this elitist type mentality comes out of that. Unfortunately, it can destroy a planet. And it is destroying people. This gentleman puts himself in complementary medicine, which, if I'm not mistaken, complementary medicine means the use of botanicals and supplements, which are isolates in particular, along with medical thinking. And it makes me sick that anyone would think that medical would be the number one healing modality on the planet. That's a trick that they use to lie to you. Because the number one healing modality is naturopathy. Always has been. And naturopathy is naturopathy, not naturopathic medicine. That's man-made. Naturopathy is the study of nature through the sciences we are aware of. Physics and chemistry. No voodoo, nothing here. Naturopathy, the study of nature through science. So when you get these elitist people who think they know everything, the statements that this individual makes, if toxins did build up in a way in your body couldn't excrete, he says, you'd likely be dead or in need of serious medical intervention. That statement alone is quite interesting to me. The healthy body has kidneys. Oh, interesting. Interesting that he said kidneys. A liver, skin, even lungs that are detoxifying as we speak. Oh, are we? So this gentleman has no clue about chemistry, yet he's an elitist thinker. He doesn't understand the effect of acidosis or even alkalosis in terms of fluids, the viscosity of fluids, and what happens magnetically to all of this. What happens to chemistry in an acidic environment? What happens to the same chemistry in an alkaline environment? Every environment changes the nature of chemistry and how the body can or cannot use it. Oh, it just gets better as you go on here. It's like ridiculous. There is no way, certainly not through detox treatments, to make something that works perfectly well in a healthy body work better. Is he so separate from life that he doesn't see that 90% of humans are sick and the level of degenerative issues, genetic mutations are ever high? This is the kind of guy you don't want. This is the kind of guy that needs to be stripped of his degree and put in Walmart to work, because that's all this guy has the ability to do, apparently. You know, this kind of stuff makes a person sick to your stomach that anybody would even write this and put this out in the eye of the public, because he makes his own self look stupid. You know, he talks about going to all these dietary supplements, smoothies, shampoos, stuff like that. You mean you'd rather have chemically made shampoos as opposed to herbally made shampoos? I mean, this is the ignorance that these people have. And he's saying, when the scientists asked for evidence behind the claims, not one of the manufacturers could define what they meant by detoxification. That's an out-and-out lie. I know many manufacturers. They know exactly what the body's detoxifying. Let me see. He goes on pretty much to say that there's nothing to detoxify out of the body, that all these toxins are myths and things like that. Oh, are they really? Let me see. Let's pump this guy full of thimerosal. Let's pump him through full of mercury. Let's see how he responds to that. Or all the toxins in vaccines that people have introduced, and antibiotics, and chemical medications. Oh, to him, chemical medications must be something like fairy dust. This is the sort of thing that we don't need anymore on this planet. They need to be stripped of their degrees and sent back to Walmart or Kmart to work back in the back. Because obviously they don't have the brain power to understand, and the influence on the public is devastating. Because detoxification is a natural process of nature. It takes place whether you like it or not. All you have to do is start eating the food your body's designed to eat in an unfired state, meaning raw, and you step back. You'll watch your body detoxify. Now let me see, mucus. Mucus comes out of the body. Now where does this mucus come from? You can't detoxify it out, right? I mean, this level of stupidity, and don't any of you guys, you beautiful guys, don't ever buy into some crap like this. You stand firm against people like this. This guy is laughable. This guy is just so ignorant, it isn't even believe me. Here's another one. Other tactics such as insidious, some colon cleansing tablets contain a polymersing agent. Oh, really? Oh, really? What would that be? Bentonite clay or charcoal? Let me see. Do we use charcoal in the medical world? Nah, we don't use it in the ER for drug overdoses or anything like that. I've never given it to people like that. No. This is the kind of extreme stupidity that grinds my grits. And these kind of people, these make me want to throw up that these kind of humans are still out there in the 21st century. They haven't grown up. He sit back in his easy chair and an elitist thinker in complementary medicine. These guys are wackos. Simply wackos. This polymer agent that turns your fecus into something like plastic. They're talking about the mucoid plaque. The plaque that builds up, the viscous plaque that builds up from white flour. Anybody ever played with paper mache? What's paper mache made of? Anybody ever see impactions in diverticulitis? In diverticulums, in other words? Absolutely. Anybody ever pulled old fecal matter out of the bowels with mold growing on it? Absolutely. I mean, this guy has no clue about health, and yet he sets himself up as some kind of complementary medicine guru or something. I don't know where this guy's coming from. Extreme side of ignorance, that's for sure. But he had to get this information somewhere. In these medical schools. So medical schools, you better change your butt. The concept of detoxification is so nebulous, might be why it has evaded public suspicion. Boy, this guy, it just over and over and over, it just makes you, the liver breaks down alcohol. Just he goes on into stupid stuff. Here's another one. Peter Ayton, a professor of psychology at City University, London, agrees. Oh, does he? Here's another egg. Here's another dumb butt. Right here. And these guys are at the university. So what does that tell you? You see why the young spiritual souls coming to this planet don't want anything to do with education anymore? Because it's mind cramming. And that leads to nothing but narcissism and elitism. And you just have to be careful about that. Not everyone, of course, and education is good. I'm not knocking it. But when you get up there and you think you're a doctor, there was a time when medical doctors felt no PhD, no anybody that has a doctorate degree should use doctor in front of their names but them. Imagine how narcissistic that is. How about these NASA scientists who spend years in study, chemical engineers, all kinds of engineers. They can't call themselves doctors after years of working? That's the narcissism of the medical field, and it must end. He says that we're susceptible to such gimmicks because we live in a world with so much information. We're happy to defer responsibility to others who might understand things better. Yeah. I mean, this is just unbelievable when you look at this and read this. And I don't know if this is true, so due respect in that way. But if this is true, these people are just part of a huge problem. That they're part of a system that killed over 1 million people last year in America and millions worldwide. The harm done by pharmaceuticals and medical doctors that didn't kill the person, but either made them blind or immobile or in some way hurt them, is by the millions and millions. None in naturopathy, none in homeopathy. What is wrong with this picture? You got an elitist guy who doesn't understand the body, doesn't understand acids from cells, that you're detoxing, that the body must remove these acids, parasitic waste as well. Then you have all the ingested toxins from all the makeups, just like you said, and shampoos that are made chemically. These are pharmaceutical thinkers, not natural thinkers. Natural thinkers don't want any part of chemistry in that way. We want natural essential oils and herbs. Is there a problem with that? Then he has a problem with God. If he has a problem with God, then he's got a big problem with me and a whole bunch of others. So this poor soul is going to be spinning for a while. It's enough to say don't ever buy into crap like that. Ever buy crap like that. That's like I feel sorry for the public that even buys into that. And I think that more and more people out there have had so much pain, so much suffering, and have been to tens of medical doctors, and no one helping them, even naturopaths, and no one helping them. Do you see where we are? This planet is a disgusting level of academics. And we have to turn that around and bring out spirituality. That is the love, the understanding, the truth of life. Not the ridiculousness of a modality that uses toxic chemicals, doesn't understand that if you put toxins in, they've got to come out, but oh no, your body goes ahead and does this. Even if your kidneys are shut down, even if you have liver problems, he doesn't even understand how that all works. And I find it's interesting that his opinion would even be worth a nickel. Sad stuff. Sad stuff. And, it's my constitutional right in this country to defend my understanding and my rights. And this kind of guy is invoking on everybody's rights. Unbelievable. That's, stuff like that just sends me off. No offense. Seborrheic dermatitis, hair loss. Hi, Dr. Morris. Hi, my friend. Michael. Sorry for the English. I am French. That's okay. Language is language, huh? No matter what level you're at and what dimension you're on, it's just communication, right? I am 34. I started to eat raw 1 year ago after a big stress I had, dermatitis on my scalp. I'm losing a lot of hairs. So immediately, guys, immediately, when you see inflammation, redness, sores on the skin, that's acids. That's acids. So where do they come from? You do want to ask this medical doctor, because he has no clue. He has no clue that cells eliminate waste. And these wastes, if not removed out of the human body, but to him, everybody removes them and everything's fine. Is that? No kidding. So, when you're not removing these wastes from the cells, this is what you see. Location, location, location. Now, Michael, no way. Up here, no way, man. No way. You've got to drain your sinuses. You've got to get your bowels cleaned up and get all this lymph moving out of the head area. Because it's just breaking down your hair follicles, breaking down your scalp, and you've got brain cells in there. You got the CNS, the central nervous system, and you've got eyes. So you really don't want to let this go any further. You want to go check your kidney filtration, get your kidneys, get on herbs for your kidneys, your lymphatic system, get your GI tract cleaned up. What do you think God made these herbs for that are for tissues in the body? Just to look pretty? People like this, they just send me into never never, because I've lived 50 years in this field almost with mentalities like that. And I look around and I see the suffering souls and what they've done to the human race, and it makes me want to be a warrior. I mean, I'm not here as a passive dove, so I apologize. I'm just not. They didn't send me here for that. I started finasteride and minoxidil to regrow my hair. You know what? Hair's not difficult to regrow, man. Hair is not difficult to regrow. But what would you want to do to regrow it? You're trying to regrow hair in an acidic medium. And this is the same thing is true when you're trying to repair tissue. When you're trying to repair hips, knees, any part of your body, you can't do it, obviously, in the same medium for which you're breaking it down. Forget this ridiculous concept of diseases. These guys have made themselves a world of diseases. They go after people that treat them. Fine. Live in your world of diseases, but don't make it a part of the English language, and then when people use your words, you come after them, because that can be construed as fraud. So you've got to be, real careful out there, though, that you lose this concept of diseases, because it's illusionary. Everything has a cause and effect. Everything is on the planet already. There's nothing out there. Man has created some Burgerberry Ebola, you know that. Some HIV. Man has done some bad things. But nature's still there. And nature still can overcome all of this. So we have to look at nature and what detoxification is. Well understood for generations. Animals do it, man does it. The planet detoxifies itself. So this gentleman probably needs to live in a little dark room somewhere in a corner and get to the self to where he can have a greater understanding of life, because this is not even funny anymore. But get this, Michael, get this dermatitis, get these acids. Forget the disease name. That's just a name that these guys give conditions that you see, which is predominantly falls under acidosis. Location, location, location. If we got it in the bladder, we call it cystitis. Now they're using the word interstitial, which is the appropriate word. The appropriate word on all of this is interstitial, because all you have is cells, interstitial spaces, meaning spaces around the cells where the fluids are that take care of them. How simple. And when that goes awry, through the types of foods that you're eating, you break down your bowels, you break down your kidneys. You know, what happens? You lose elimination. And yes, for this gentleman's sake, if you hold fecal matter in your bowels for more than a day, you're going to get putrefaction and you're going to have reabsorption. He doesn't even believe in that. It's like, what? The extreme ignorance of someone at that level. I just, don't say complementary medicine to me. I think it's coming from my adrenal glands. Well, you're right about that, Michael. The adrenals control the kidneys, which control the sewer system, which is the lymphatic system. This is why you see all lymphatic problems are at the #1 cause of literally almost everything, including blood problems. And, of course, all cancers are lymphomas, which is of the lymph system, right? Why? What causes it? And what is cancer? It's a name medical doctors created a disease around this. All that means is that you've got cells being damaged. And what side, if there was two sides of chemistry and everything's chemistry, so what side of chemistry is damaging your cells? They believe alkalis. Don't do they really? I doubt it very seriously, because cellular wastes aren't alkalis. They're acids. All the cycles, Cribs and all the cycles pop off acids. Study them. Acid wastes are universal, from car exhaust to manufacturing to everything. That's why we talk about carbon prints. But it's more than carbon prints. We got phosphorus. We got all levels of byproducts here. And they're all acids. Carbonic acids, phosphoric acids, they're all acids. And acids can be your friend, but 90% of people are suffering from when they're not your friend. I need my hair. I was born with skull malformation. If I have no hair, it would be catastrophic for me. You know what, though, Michael? So, what might we think then? If you were born with skull malformation and you've got so much dermatitis, in other words, so much acids in the brain, could we not suspect that you had some suppression of the pituitary and growth hormones? So, what might you think if you got yourself really deep into this raw foods, really deep in cleaning your lymph system, bringing your glands up, including your pituitary, and you see regeneration of the skull? It is possible. Remember, we've seen total regeneration of the skeletal system. Fox News showed that story on you. And I think, Roger, you'll see that story. But I've had it in multiple people. We are setting up again in our website for club members to put your testimonials up. And it's important that you do to help others. Again, the FDA doesn't like your First Amendment rights, because then you're going to tell the truth. They don't like that because they're in deep trouble. They've allowed chemicals that kill people by the tens of thousands. When you see the statistics and how many deaths, it's frightening. When Consumer Reports puts on the front of their paper, protect yourself from your hospital stay, because almost 500,000 people died just from hospital errors. We got a problem? And that gentleman that says there's no such thing as detoxification is a main part of that problem. Serious stuff here. Very serious stuff. It's not funny anymore. There's too many kids. Look at your kids. Look at the families with their kids in St. Jude's, watching them destroy these kids with chemotherapy every day. Part of this system. Look at the system where the states rip your kids from you and then make them go toxic chemicals and stuff like that and kill a lot of them. How's that make people feel? This is a serious problem we have. And we have to start taking serious steps in the future to eliminate these problems. So, my friend, listen, you can get this, but you've got to detox. And it is suggesting you have a toxic bowel, probably chronic. So you want to look at that. What color are your eyes? And take a look at your eye pictures and see what you see there. Because you really want to clean this whole gut and get this whole head draining out, get that lymph moving, get your kidneys filtering. Pee in a jar, take a look at it. Remember? Kidneys not filtering, kidneys filtering. Okay? Real important, because you have to be able to get rid of these wastes. Oh, according to a lot of medical doctors, there's no such thing. I guess he's not up to the researchers. Even the researchers in the medical world know the body has to get rid of waste. I don't know. Apologize to you guys, but I'll tell you, I've had enough of this in 40-some years of working with people and putting up with this crap and trying to fix their messes. That's all we do, if you notice, is fix their messes or people's messes from what they didn't understand about life and diet and health. So I would use upper circulation, my friend. I'd actually use brain and nerve as well, just for a little while, since you've been so acidic, probably since birth. You want to definitely get some upper circuit, brain and nerve. That'll actually regenerate brain cells, bring more oxygen to the brain. Excuse me. And as you clean, I guess mucus shouldn't come out. Stay in there. Clean up that GI tract so you can get a good detox going there. And that'll pull all these acids out, and you can regenerate. And by bringing up your glands, you never know about regeneration of the skull. I've seen some incredible things. Humans are working at such a low level of vitality. He doesn't know what invigoration is and what vitality is. And that's sad. But it's been going on too long. You know, when things go on too long, we have to make a change. If not, it'll just psychically go along until man destroys themselves. Well, that's not why we're here. We're here to stop that, to help that bring up to the next level. It's all created anyway. Thanks, my friend, for your question there. But you get that out of you. Because nothing good, man. You're only 34. And acids in the brain only means dementia and Alzheimer's. So, and cholesterol plaquing, strokes, TIAs, all these sort of things. Get out of all that. You don't want anything to do with that. Let me see. This is an inquiry. Okay, here's a rundown: autoimmune, hypothyroid, taking armor, unstable cortisol, last saliva test, high all day. Lyme disease, neural, no joint pain, more cognitive, with several co-infections, GERD, thrush, constipation. I like how you do this. You're pulling it all out right there. That's good. And POTS syndrome, orthohypotension, or cortisone? I don't know what that is. Better since my adrenals are producing high cortisol. That wasn't the case. It keeps bouncing back and forth. High estrogen, ovarian cysts, really acidic, urine, possible kidney stones. Need to get my body to detox. You betcha. Well, your first move on anybody, there's no question about this, and it's obvious. Come on. Your first move is to change what you're eating. That's a no-brainer. With the understanding that the human, the Homo sapien human, is more of a frugivore species than anything else. He can tolerate vegetables, but even in the vegetables, he goes to the vegetable fruits. You know, the cucumbers, the tomatoes, peppers, things like that. Instead of the lettuces, which are hard. We don't have the grinders herbivores have. We don't have a body design of anything but frugivores, primate-ish. Now, there are some primate-ish that are living as omnivores because I remember the smaller groups living on an island somewhere in New Guinea, somewhere where they're trapped on this island, and they have fruit trees, some, but they also have clams or something they get off the rocks because there's just hardly any food for them at all. So when there's no food, they do what we do. We adapt. We start killing. And in some cases, remember the aggressive chimpanzees that got out of that research center with the hurricane? And now you have chimpanzees ripping apart other chimpanzees and monkeys and eating them. How natural does that sound to you? Doesn't, does it? No, it doesn't. You don't want to ever get a gorilla that mad. That wouldn't be good. All right, so let's look at this. All right, so autoimmune, throw that away. That's a medical thinking. No such thing as an autoimmune. Everything is just what chemistry does to it. Either makes it better or makes it worse. Everything is chemically impacted. So take a look. Just take a look. Now, hypothyroidism, taking Armour. Armour is natural T4, but anytime, even Armour, Dr. Jensen thought Armour wouldn't be like Synthroid or levothyroxine, which are synthetic T3s. He thought taking Armour would help the thyroid, bring it up, everything would be good. No way. When he came to me and with his wife, very low thyroids. Wife in the dumpers. Bad stuff. You can't take hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, digestive enzymes, guys, because you'll lose your glands. You'll lose your glands, and that's what you see. It isn't a myth, it's what you see. And it's a fact. We've known it, even good medical doctors know that. So, that's where you use a glandular. You use a glandular, say a thyroid 150. You take maybe 1-3 times a day, I would. And at the same time, I'm going to go every other day on my Armour because I don't want to take hormones and lose my glands. I want my glands healthy. And we're about health. We're not about diseases. That's a field lost within itself. Very harmful field. So you want the truth. You want to understand how the body works. You want to know just a little bit about chemistry, right? Just basic stuff. We don't have to know deep intel chemistry. Who cares? Not important. Though if you want to use academics, then dig that way. Get away from theories and myths and things like this. When you start operating and build upon theories, after a while, they treat it as actualities. And it isn't true. It's based on theories. And theories are simply theories. Einstein, some of his theories are being rebutted right now. So, it's just theories are theories. I'm only concerned with what works and what doesn't work. What doesn't work gets the boot. So, that's what I would do to pull that. But what's making your thyroid underactive? Is it the pituitary? Well, that's going to take your eyes to see that. That's TSH. Not all thyroid or thyroid problems are thyroid problems. Some thyroid problems and parathyroid problems are pituitary problems because the pituitary controls the thyroid and parathyroid. TSH, PTH. Now, unstable cortisol. Well, that's going right back to your adrenal glands and your kidneys. Now, I wouldn't get caught up in saliva, urine, or blood hormones and steroids. None of them seem to be realistically viable to understand. Symptomology is better. With that said, you want to make healthy your cells, whether it's the adrenals, whether it's the kidneys, or whatever, because that's where man's failing. And it's he's messed up his fluids, particularly the lymph fluids. The blood has to have a certain pH or death is imminent. So, Lyme disease, systemic acidosis, and a heavy lymphatic. Lyme, lupus, fibromyalgia, all these things are the same, guys. Systemic acidosis, and generally heavy lymphatic stagnation problems, head to toe. Some with major sulfur. That seems to trip you more into the RAs, but still, Lyme's can have heavy sulfur involvement. And remember Charles Goodyear and used sulfa drugs to harden his substance for tires. And here's a pharmaceutical company using sulfa drugs, which Goodyear used to harden his substance, and they put it in antibiotics and stuff like that. I love that. That's why you guys fight so hard to get this sulfur out of you. Neural, so again, use brain and nerve, use upper circulation. This would be good for you in that way as well. Orthohypotension, well, you got to get into your adrenal glands. Just what's happening. You're seeing that, and you might even be seeing the shift of neurotransmitters. If indeed you're seeing an up and down shift, a possibility could be coming from the cerebellum here. If you have equilibrium dizzy problems with that, you might consider the cerebellum, and you're not draining down the back of the spine. Let me see. High estrogen ovarian cysts. Well, you can't play with estrogen or progesterone or cortisols or any of the steroids, honey. Because if you do, you'll end up messing yourself up real bad. You must make healthy that which produces. And cells love to be healthy. What makes them unhealthy? All right? Acidosis is the number one reason. Acidosis. That's another word for acidosis is inflammation. Acids, which are proteins, create the immune response, inflammation. The body's attempting to neutralize these acids. And how does the body neutralize acids? Cortisol, progesterone, remember? Progesterone is estrogen neutralizer, right? So, again, it's what you see everywhere all the time. Acid-base, acid-alkaline. Those two are the only two sides of chemistry. When they're out of balance and acids win, you lose. Game is starting to become over. You see your skin breaking down, you see your organs breaking down, you see everything breaking down, and there's always mucus tied to this, isn't it? Remember the Arnold-Ehret syndromes. Why? Because the mucosa lines everywhere, and the mucus is a protection against proteins. And remember, dairy proteins being the most mucus-forming foods on the planet. Look at all the brain tumors we have nowadays. Look at all what's going on upstairs. It's a nightmare. Lungs, lung cancers. Jiminy Christmas, it's a mess out there. Now, so you want to make your adrenals healthy. I use glandulars at first, but I'm after the fluids because the fluids directly impact the cells. I'm a cell sitting in your adrenal gland unless you hit me with something like a car accident or something. I'm an adrenal gland. The only way you can affect me is through blood and or lymph. One of those two, because that's circulating around me to feed me and allow me to get rid of my waste. Simple as a little baby from the hospital. Feed them, clean them. Essential. This guy has no clue how the body works, though. This professor, I can't even use the word professor. That means somebody that knows what they're talking about. So if you're having ovarian cysts, though, and it waxes and wanes with estrogen, but remember, acid on top of acid creates things like this. So you're already acidic, you're already not filtering from the kidneys, and so when estrogen peaks and you start seeing more acidic estrogen coming, yes, you can pop a cyst, and they come and they go, but the problem isn't estrogen unless you're way out of balance with it. The problem is going to be systemic acidosis first, and then estrogen on top of that. Well, what's the difference between that and use of chemotherapy? Much worse. Chemotherapy is what? 1,000 times hotter than estrogen, if not 1,000,000. So, you can see how there's very few people survive that. Yet, this elitist thinker is part of that. Ugh. Vomitous. Acidic urine is what you want, though. But you don't want it too acidic. If your urine is too acidic, then you have low bacterial action in the body. At least you're filtering, but low bacterial action. And that comes obviously from the use of antibiotics. Perhaps some kidney stones you might have. Oh, I hate those. Again, all this takes place interstitially under acidosis and what the body does to fight acids. How does the body fight acidosis? Well, your steroids, right, first. What if they're low? Then what you always see in your eyes, guys, is your cholesterol rings. And your cholesterol starts going up. It doesn't have to go up. Let me tell you, your blood work can show perfect with cholesterol, and you'll see a cholesterol ring in the eye, and then you see strokes and heart attacks. Well, wait a minute, my cholesterol was normal. Or, I've been on that statin for years, and why did I have a stroke or a heart attack? Yeah. Big money makers, though. Big money makers, for sure. So you want to make healthy that which is tissue in your body. Well, how do you make something healthy? Well, if you don't detoxify your body, if you don't get your body filtering and get these acids from the cells out, you're going to get the blowback. And the blowback is to the cell. And when you mutate a cell, they like to use the word atypical or cancer. But tumors are tumors. Tumors are just pockets of fluid. What kind of fluid would be in a tumor? Does this guy even know? Interstitial fluid. A little blood, a little lymph, just like a juicy pimple. Why would that be? Why would fluid back up and the body create a pocket out of it to contain it? Does that make any sense? Absolutely. So there has to be a blockage somewhere. How could you get a blockage in the human body if everybody eats the food medical doctors think you should eat and everybody's good? Oh, that's so far out of touch. I can't even tell you. So, you want to get yourself back on a 100% raw food diet for a little while, my lady. And you might think about your pituitary. You'd want to look at your eyes. If your menses is irregular, pituitary. If you're short, pituitary, generally speaking. If you have a thyroid and it's a pituitary, you want to kick up your pituitary. Check your parathyroid glands. We have a health questionnaire. I think it's online. Join the club, $10, and you get it right back when you order. Free, in other words. And get on that questionnaire and fill out the questions, and you'll see right what you have as weaknesses and not. Get a picture of your eyes. There's plenty of information on the YouTube here for that. And you'll see what you're going after. And then you just take herbs and raw foods for it, in my opinion. Isolate's going to get you nowhere. You want to put your money for something that'll give you something back, and not something that just washes through. You want something with a specific action on specific tissue, because you're getting smart. You understand now that you have 100 trillion cells that comprise the human body. Each one of them consume, and each one of them eliminate waste. Look at the new lymphatic system they found in the brain. An additional lymphatic system to additionally help the body remove waste out of the brain. I can see why. How many lymphatic systems have they not found yet in the human body? So real important stuff here. So you realize that you must change this diet to a living food, raw diet, because we know what cooking does to chemistry. If medical doctors don't know this, go back to school. Take a chemistry course. Think it out if you want to use the mind. What happens when you use heat or acids into a matrix? You burn your electrolytes, and then you create dehydration and agglomeration. Or in other words, an anionic environment. Plain and simple. And everybody's getting it. So in an extreme dehydrated state, arthritis, fibromyalgia, lupus, and Lyme's, the pain is horrendous. Where's this coming from? Everything's good in humans, right? Oh, this must be some disease that creeped up in you, head to toe. Couldn't be what you're eating, affecting your organs and glands. Look at the studies they've done on high-protein diets related to colon cancer. Oh, well, excuse me, I guess you didn't read that one. I mean, it's over and over and over. And there's enough studies out there to show you. Even the study on chemotherapy showing that it causes cancer and it damages cells to the point where most people die from it. But we still use it. Yeah, that's the mind. We're still going to use it. Wow. If anybody ever needed a colonic, which these guys are turning down, those guys need it. A few hours in a chair ought to do quite fine. A few teaspoons of cayenne pepper will help too. Settle them down a bit. All right. Sorry about this, guys, but I'm telling you, enough's enough. Kim, here we go. All right. Yeah, I see that. Just work on your kidneys, get on your lymph system, clean the bowels out. Go with what we're talking about on this, and you'll pull all this out of you. You have a lot of several infections. You have GERD, thrush. Well, that just means you're full of fungus, honey. So that's your adrenals down. If you're acidic here, now she's got some constipation going on here. This constipation could be from hardened lymphatic tissue in the bowel wall and neurological, which would mean the adrenals are down. She would probably have low blood pressure, and therefore she can't eliminate well. But the GERD side of this, notice how they wanted to make acid reflux. They can't own the word acid because it's a universal word. GERD, now I got a disease. Now I can treat this, and you can't. And if you do, I'm going to spank you on the bottom. Holy moly. So, this lady needs some help. So I would get on stomach and bowel at least number 2, depending on how constipated you are. If you miss a day, use number 2. If you miss 2 days, use number 3. If you miss more, go on up. Because you got to keep yourself opened up. Because whether they understand this or not, there is reabsorption of putrefied matter. Think about a piece of meat on a highway at 100-degree temperature for days. What do you think is going to happen? How's it going to smell? And this is in your body. Not good? Not good. And I know an airplane pilot that doesn't move his bowels but every 45 days. I know plenty of women that don't move their bowels but every 30 days. Something wrong with this picture? Big time. Auto-intoxication. Big time. Ever heard of toxemia? I guess these women that died from toxemia really didn't. So this lady needs some help here for sure. Honey, so you really want to cool yourself off. Get on your raw foods. You have to do fruit all day long, fruits and berries and melons, and then a salad at night. Fine, good. Get your herbs on your kidneys going at 14-week if you can afford it. You don't have to pay for a counselor or anything else. You got your focus right there. That's why I did that. And I did it for the most hideous of problems. So, use that. And balance out your glands. Go after your glands and make them healthy. But the Lyme's just tells me you have systemic acidosis, systemic lymphatic problems. Get a picture of your eye and take a look at it, and see what you're up against. For all of you, that is the easiest, quickest way to look at your internal environment. And if I didn't give you enough information on how to read the eyes, I'll give you more. Generally, that's level 2 in our classes. I don't want to give it all away. I want you to come to our classes where I can meet you, and we can become good friends, and we can help the world. This is from David. Greetings, Dr. Morse. Greetings, David. David or Dave? Okay. A friend of mine mentioned that you have info about Lyme disease, that it is actually beneficial rather than detrimental. Please confirm this. Well, I don't think Lyme's is beneficial. I don't think anything's beneficial. But if you buy into it's a bacterial problem, don't, because plenty of people have been on massive amount of antibiotics and only made everything much worse. Jesse Ventura did a thing that it's actually a viral. Doesn't really matter what the problem is. Viruses don't cause these things. This is systemic acidosis. This is systemic lymphatic problems, and you can lump it all into fibromyalgia, Lyme's, and lupus, and the whole 9 yards. Arthritis is the same thing. Just because it affects different factors of the body, who cares? It's all the same thing, guys, and you treat it the same way. You detoxify your body, and you get your kidneys filtered and get these acids out. All this inflammation backs away, down your joints, everything then can rebuild, and you're in good shape. Don't, and your life becomes a living hell. And then, as you get older, everything starts going wacky. You lose your happiness. You don't know what world you're in. It becomes pretty bad. And of course, in the process of treating it, they kill all your bacteria. So now your lymph system actually gets worse because it's bacteria that cleans your lymph system. Thank you very much. I guess those medical doctors don't have septic tanks because they're too rich to have septic tanks at their houses. They might probably hook to city sewer systems. Back up a sewer system in a house once, and you won't want that experience again. And yet, there's millions of people with their sewer systems backed up in their house, and they can't identify it, can't see it. They want to blame diseases that don't exist on it. Or they want to blame God's bacteria. We'll just attack nature for doing this. Couldn't be man's hand to mouth. So, you got to detoxify yourself, David. Get your kidneys filtering. Pee in a jar, take a look at it. Get your adrenals up, so your steroids are up, your neurotransmitters are up. Get these kidneys starting filtering, and all these wastes and acids will come out of you, and you'll be good. Excuse me. This is John Woods. Hey, John. Hey, Dr. Morris, I was on all-fruit diet and also took part one of the Fab Four. Oh, great. I've taken these actions because I had severe acne and believe this is the only way to cure it. Well, it is. Because even though you might see it explode when you start to detoxify, well, understand why. You're starting to kick up the juice that's acidic. You're starting to stir up the pot. And yeah, you're going to see that. But you hang in there, you get your waste filtering, and get these acids out of your body, everything clears up. I haven't seen anybody that couldn't. And if you're that bad, it could take a while. Don't get upset. I had a young man in Texas that was full of psoriasis. And it was gross because he could squeeze his chest and pus would come out like whipping cream. It was horrible. I finally got him, but it took about a year or more. But it was pretty bad, really broken down the skin and everything else. But I have other psoriasis cases. I had a young girl, she was about 17 years old. Bent over every time she walked, she split in bed. We have pictures of her. Skin followed her everywhere. 3 months all gone but the fingertips. That was a good case. But she was young, went right into it. All right. And believe this is the only way to cure. My face improved a lot after about a week, but I had reached my limit. I had unbelievable cravings for every other. I know, and that's well, you got to deworm yourself and everything else. Get a hold of the fungus, deworm yourself, and that'll help the cravings. No question about it. But yeah, when you start detoxing, the residues of some of these foods come out, and you start thinking about them. Yeah, I remember on a fast, I started craving Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and I really never ate a lot of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, but I started craving them, and I'm going, I'm on a water fast. I'm going, no way. Second day on the water fast, I'm craving them even more. And I'm going, oh my God. Third day on the water fast, I'm almost ripping. I'm going, well, I don't know why I'm craving these. But I've read books where other physicians felt that these are wastes from these foods that have been stored in the body. And by when these wastes are breaking up, it triggers the memory of the food itself. So I thought, well, that sounds reasonable. So about the fourth day, I run into a 7-Eleven, buy me a 3 or 4 pack, shuck them down, and that's the last time I ever ate them. And I went right on with my fast and didn't even think it. So we've all done bizarre things. You just work the best you can, man, but get rid of the parasites. Go after that. Watch your stools. And if you see anything that looks like flukes, jellyfish stuff, worms, anything like that, little white specks, dots, hooks, keep going till you don't, and then about a month later, hit it again so you make sure you get their eggs. I had unbelievable cravings for every other food besides fruit and had more and more mood swings. Yeah, I mean, and that's so true, too. You can do that. You're really, opening a pot of worms, figuratively speaking. You're really opening up a mess of fungus and everything else. Well, they start affecting you because a lot of times you're so symbiotically related to all your microbes that you don't realize their cravings are your cravings, I also lost a lot of weight. I went off all fruits and instantly got breakouts again. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. My face is so bad that I want to go on the fruits again, but this time I will try to do at least a few months of this diet. Yeah, but you know what? You can balance out and do, say, a salad a day and, and keep the fruits and the berries and the melons through the day. But it just shows you the power of the fruit to astringe, to move. And that's why we use them. We don't use vegetables to astringe. We don't use vegetables as cleansers. We use fruits as cleansers, lemons and stuff like this. Your stronger astringent foods. Just common sense, guys. So this is just what this is. And so you see the power of that. But it also suggests that your kidneys aren't up to the task, of filtering properly in your adrenals. So work on all those, John, and see how you get that. You'll get all that cleaned up, man. But this is just lymph. And you don't want it on the face or anywhere else in the head area. That's for dang sure. Because there's too much important stuff up here. Can you give me tips on eliminating cravings or reduce them? Yeah, go after your parasites, clean up the gut, and you might have to plow through it sometimes. And if it gets it real bad, taste it, spit it out, and go on. I've done that too. I mean, I don't want the chemistry in there. I just want to taste a few of the molecules. Good. I got all I needed. Thank you. And go on. It's an energetic hit, but still. Let's see. Also explain how to fix my mood swings. Get you some, we have a flower essence called Moonshine Yarrow. Get that. It's a sweet little thing. We use it in the Oklahoma bombing. Put, about a quarter of it's a little bitty dropper thing, and about a quarter of that under the tongue, sublingually. And it doesn't take long, and it'll settle you down. But look at your adrenal glands and your parathyroid, because your adrenal glands are going to give you a lot of mood swings, but more emotional, inferior stuff, things like this. The thyroid, or parathyroid, more depression, unhappiness, stuff like that. I mean, truly unhappiness. I would get very angry. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you put that on there, because anger is the liver, guys. So whenever you see anger during detox, you're into your liver. Yeah, no alcoholics in anger. And I tell you, it's just that the liver's the seat of anger. Get your liver cleaned out. Let that come out, John. Just let it come out. Get mad. Don't hit a tree, but, go up to a tree and then hug it. But let that energy out and clean that liver. Go on the liver gallbladder for about a month and a half. Clean that out. And at the same time, get your kidneys filtering, get your bowels cleaned up, and all this. And all this will start correcting itself. Then just work through it, man. All you can do that I know of. And lastly, a lot of my acne is also due to scarring. Well, that's another problem. You stay long enough on raw, the scars will go away. But it has to be all raw and long enough. See the difference? Try this, guys. Do 1 month all raw, and then start adding cooked foods back in your diet and see how you feel. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It'll tell you, your body will go, whoops, no, I don't like the destroyed food in my body. There's nothing there for me. I like the living, breathing food like all the other animals eat on the planet. Oh, there's got to be something wrong with raw foods medically, I'm sure. What was that one medical doctor told this lady in the hospital, he can't do raw foods because they're bad for you or something? You're on a very ignorant, locked planet. This is why we're here. So understand your importance, and this is why I keep praising you guys, because you deserve it. This is a tough planet. You've got thousands of these kind of thinkers out there that don't know a clue about life or health. I'm talking about this medical doctor I first read. These people just are clueless. And you can't be clueless anymore. Genetics and the state of the human cell doesn't dictate ignorance anymore. That's why we're here, present, aggressive, and putting it out there. And truth is on our side, not theirs. That's their problem. They can't stand on any truth at all. They have a history of killing, a history of maiming people. How are you going to stand on truth when your history is full of that? Full of poisons, a lack of understanding of how the body works and chemistry and sewer systems and things like that. How do you explain that away? Diseases, autoimmune, it's in your mind, there's nothing wrong with you, all those kind of excuses. That's sick. That makes me angry, and it's not even my liver. Is there any herb, food, or treatment that is effective at reducing scarring? You know, not really. Your body will do this. Really, your body will do this. If there's any, it would be the parathyroid gland. Why? Connective tissue, integrity, strength. So that would be the case, especially if you notice wrinkling and undue, flabby skin, stuff like that. You want to tone and tighten yourself. And that comes from a good, healthy diet and good parathyroid glands, good connective tissue, that sort of thing. Then you get toned up. If you're getting wrinkly and stuff like that, you're losing your calcium to acidosis, which is obvious, and you're not putting your calciums back. Remember, because the body has to fight acidosis. How does it do it? Cholesterol, calcium, edema. Those are the three. It's on the test. Calcium, cholesterol, and edema. All three. And all three can kill you. But at first, it's the body's effort to grab base to fight acid. That's simple. That's simple. As you would take a Tums to fight acids. Just pop a calcium pill. Eat an apple. Anything alkaline neutralizes acids. This nature of chemistry. Struggling on all fruits. Yeah. Well, John, cut down and have some vegetables. Go a little slower. I mean, it might take a little longer to fix things, but that's okay. It's okay. You can work through these things. It's okay. But if you want to go pedal to the metal, you guys, and you're going to have cases that you're working on where you're going to go pedal to the metal, you're going to go all fruits, berries, and melons. Because that's pedal to the metal, and that's how you save a lot of people. For those that want deeper regeneration, fruits, berries, and melons. You just have to get to that point at a certain time because you'll plateau with vegetables. I mean, I've done this. I've been with tens and tens and tens of thousands of cases. And this we see every single time. That means it's truth. Okay. Hi. This is from Chris too. I ordered the 1 month supply of herbs, went on for 1 month with 50% to 70% fruit diet for a month. Still do 40-50% fruit daily diet. Excellent. The issue I'm having is constant right knee pain, and I remember when I was taking herbs that the knee pain was to the point where I could not fall asleep. Excuse me. That's that right kidney then. And you're not filtering on that kidney. Now, it is possible to see filtration in your urine and one kidney not be filtering. That's the one problem we have with that. You have two kidneys, and I just had a lady in the other day, and that's what we found. We found one kidney was filtering, obviously, and it was obvious the other one wasn't because she was getting, swelling. So that's important. What you could do is rub any oil, but particularly, you could use WD-40, but remember, the lady that used WD-40 on her arthritis, she woke up with WD-40 all in her mouth the next morning. Yeah. So whatever you put on your skin, know that you want it, that you're eating it, and that it wants to be nutritive, first of all. And that includes makeups, ladies. You want to be able to eat your makeup, because this medical doctors don't know that makeups have bad chemicals, and not from our field. This guy's complementary medicine, and he's knocking our natural herbal and essential oil stuff. But you can go there and use the Selsun Blue. Whoo! Wow! Wow! 21st century here on this planet, right? No, not really. This planet is millions and millions of years old. Okay. Castor oil, number one. Olive oil, grapeseed oil, excellent. Get one of our salves, our Heal All salve if you want. That's cool too. The burn salve will work just as well. And keep a salve on that, or an oil on that. And let that soak in. If you have to do a little heat source to drive that oil a little bit, okay. But that'll bring, oils are anti-inflammatory. Why is your lymph system an oil-based system? Why does your fatty acids absorbed into your lymphatic system in your GI tract as opposed to the blood? So there's a reason lipids are concentrated. And they're at the only level that you can fight these hotter acids with. So your adrenal steroids that are anti-inflammatories or antacids are cholesterol-based. Your lymph system is cholesterol-based. Your cell wall is cholesterol-based. You have all types of lipids, triglycerides. You have all types of lipids in the body to help. And these are the problems you see when you have problems with acidosis. You have cholesterol problems, you have calcium problems, and you have edema problems. It's universal. You see it everywhere, every time. I don't know what they see. Now, since I'm off the herbs, the pain is not intense, but still there. Well, what happens? In detoxification, it's a fact. Your weaknesses will be pulled right out in front of your face. And you can know that because when I do your iris analysis, I always make a little, tell you where you're weak there. Excuse me. And in our classes, we teach you that when you detoxify, all your genetic weaknesses are going to be dealt with. You're going to see your weaknesses, the body working on them. And so for some reason, pain or some level of discomfort or awareness is made known to you in that area. But when it's pain, it tells me that area is a little more advanced than it should be. So that's that right kidney, bro, and you got to get that because the next thing is the right hip. And we don't want that. So keep working on those kidneys to filter and keep pulling on that lymph system. And if you wanted to help repair something while you're detoxifying, get the parathyroid glandular, I would take 1-3 times a day for a couple of bottles, and I would add the Bones formula with that at 2-3 times a day. That'll bring healing power right to that, and at the same time you're moving those acids out. See where I'm going? But using oil on that knee as an anti-inflammatory, it'll help you immensely with the pain and help buffer any damage to the tissue. Let me see here. Now it says, okay, no pain, but I could feel my right knee. Don't feel super like my left knee. What do you recommend I do? I have limited funds, but I could order some of. Well, do that. At least get you a Fab4 going. I would definitely do a parathyroid for a couple of bottles, excuse me, with the Bones formula. But I'm after my lymphatic system. I'm after causative factors. How did acids build up in that area? Well, acids are created in all activity. Obviously, see what cells go through. So acids are created, but you're not eliminating them. You hold an acid anywhere long enough, and you're not going to be happy with what happens in that area. First, it's inflammation, and then it's the decay of the cell. Or cells, because that whole area is backed up. So's the rest of the body, though. So, in a sense, you're being chewed on all over the place. Only your weaker areas go, hey, I'm here. But after a while, you're developing even weaker areas in other places. And then we have kids and past that. What do I do about the annoying constant pain? Get all raw. Is there any exercise? That's the same thing I wouldn't want to do, is exercise. I'd take it real easy. Rest would be better. It would be better to rest and focus on detox and pull these acids out than to continue to create more acids in a joint that's saying stop. You know, pain is, hello, stop. I've got a problem here. Pulls your attention to that problem. Well, what could be the problem? Well, all life here is chemistry and physics. Okay? So energy and chemistry. All right? You've got two fluids that take care of the cells of everything. They're both made of total chemistry. See, it's just not difficult to understand this whole thing. If you buy into this illusionary concept of diseases, you get as lost as this guy. Hopefully not. This guy's way out there. Hopefully that he'll wake up soon enough if he gets cancer or something like that, a disease that he's going to fight, that he wakes up and realizes that that's an illusionary concept, and I'm going to go after what's really causing this cell damage, and then I'll be successful. They're king of the treatment consciousness. We don't use treatment consciousness. Well, maybe a tad, especially putting oil on a knee. That can be construed maybe as bringing some anti-inflammatory power into an area. You could be treating that area while you're working on the cause of it. I could do well to strengthen the leg muscles around the knee, absolutely. But that creates exercise and the movement of the joint as well. I'll say this, much better if you move lymph first, get everything moving, get the acids out, and then strengthen and build. Much better to do that first. I spend about 6 to 8 hours sitting in front of a computer. Well, be careful. Just be really careful because you're sitting 6 to 8 hours in radiation. So be real careful, guys. That's our problem with the computer world. Be very, very careful because when you're already acidic, then your magnetics change and now you're holding. Remember what happens in advanced acid mediums? You start to get agglomeration, dehydration. Well, all this computer radiation is acidic, and so acid on top of acid on top of acid on top of acid does not yield anything good, vital, or healthy. Just doesn't. I have limited funds. Okay, let's see. I spent 68 hours in front of a computer. No. I don't. It must be one. Be taking pain pills. Yeah, get that pain out. Use oils first. See if that'll work for you. If there's even some essential oils for pain you could use. Not my field. I don't use essential oils here. Just does too much. You can take too much. Also, I'm thinking going to my chiropractor to see what he says. Well. You have to fix this. Doesn't matter what your chiropractor says. You got to fix the pain. He can only do the same thing I do, unless you're out of adjustment. But that's not the pain for the knee. That's a beast of another color. So if you go to a chiropractor, make sure you go to one that detoxifies you. Now, this is Jackson. Hey, Jackson, how can you heal dry eye problem? Can you do it? Talk on that. Oh, you betcha, Jackson. And you don't want dry eyes. No. What side of chemistry would dry you out? Base or acids? That's right. No-brainer. Acids. Dehydration. Well, what else can acids do? Oh, damage cells, mutate cells. Big time. MACD, detached retinas, wrinkled retinas. I mean, just the gamut of things you see. But that's just a symptom of a whole systemic acidosis. And you don't want dry mouth, anything like that either. And you don't want dry eyes. Holy moly, no. I would use, excuse me, I apologize. I would get an eye wash. I have a beautiful eye wash. I'd wash my eyes out a couple times a day with an eye cup. Real nice thing to do. Systemically, you want to move your lymph. You want to get these acids out of here. But in time, you'll start getting glycemic pressures. You can get the dry MACDs. You don't even want to go there, man. I do not like dry eyes, dry mouth, anything that's dry. Dry skin, that's dehydration, equals acidosis. And acidosis comes from the inability to remove cellular waste. And how do we affect that? By breaking down our kidneys. Could man's diet have any effect upon kidneys or bowels? Study after study after study have shown that, but for medical doctors that don't read studies, so you want to fix this one, son. And that is to get your kidneys filtered and get your bowels cleaned up, this whole GI tract thing. Excuse me, and dig in. Dig in. Chris is out of Dodge here. They're all in New York with Drew. So this is going to be one long video. But what I'm going to do is cut it in segments. So I'm going to do answer a couple more questions here, and then I'll cut it off. I might come in this afternoon, do more. Come in tomorrow, do more. So I've got all weekend to try to catch up with you guys. Matter of fact, I've got another week to catch up with you guys. I took a week off so I could just sit here and do this. Verified news. This is so hard to contemplate. I wasn't raised with a good diet. I don't have a taste for fruit, but I think about all the animals that live on this planet who don't have to modify their food to eat it, and what I conclude is that we aren't carnivorous. No kidding. Smart men. Somewhere along the line, we were tempted by the taste of cooked meat. Well, I think really if you look at this, National Geographic, and they just found the lady, the female bipedal upright walking female in Ethiopia, claiming 44 million years old, claiming that in Ethiopia 44 million years ago were the Homo sapien is definitely a tropical species. I concur 2,000%. And I think your anatomy and physiology also prove that. And if you were doing your own China studies, you do what I do. Your islanders are by far, your older ones in particular, that have raised on fruits, your poor islanders, extremely healthy. Extremely healthy. And very old. Somewhere along the line, and I think we just migrated out of the tropical signs, and then we had the changing of the planet, and so we had to, and we do that still. We still have people that love to live in Alaska, but you got to be hunters. And I watch all these Alaska programs, and I just get sick when you beat ducks with sticks and you kill all these animal foods, and you don't even have a greenhouse. At least some of the guys in Alaska put up greenhouses. Now the entire human population, with a growing number of exceptions, act like predators. Isn't that something? And there's been a lot of studies done, my friends, showing aggressiveness with meat eating. And you can see that. You can see it in yourself. Get away from meat, guys, for a while and see how it relaxes and makes you calmer. And the meat eating then picks you up. Well, we know neurotransmitters of epinephrine is one of the problems, but also the aggressiveness of high proteins and acid foods. And if you want to change your blood chemistry, and if you're a medical doctor and you understand what your blood chemistry is, you're going to see the blood chemistry matching that of fruits, berries, and melons closer than it does vegetables, but still, all those are still closer than any protein out there. You're so far away from blood chemistry when you get into your complex foods, and including starches, you're getting too complex for the blood chemistry to deal with. So now you have stealing of the blood. The blood starts robbing its electrolytes or pulling calcium out of its walls, things like that, to keep the blood viscosity and pH halfway decent. I mean, it's obvious when you look at this. So the spiritual aspect of the matter is obvious. I'm beginning to see that it's like crack cocaine, addictive. I'm talking about that thick, juicy steak. Well, it is. I don't know what to tell you. Of my cravings, I suppose the barbecue would be my worst, because I just used to love barbecue. But yeah, I know it. And when you burn the meat, it can taste better. It's just when you really look at it, it is gross. And then when you understand what putrefaction is, that even becomes more gross. And then when you really look what meat is, it's just dead cells and stagnant blood, and you're cooking that. Of course, you got aspects of urine in there and everything else. And we call that nutritious and good for us. Okay. And that meat was built upon vegetables, more likely. See where I'm going? So you're a good guy. You're seeing what's up. But, you see what I do. It's like crack. It makes you feel euphoric but kills you. Yep. Who knows what the massive psychological effect has been on the race. Oh, big time. Big time, big time. Well, take a look at this, my friend. We're a warring planet. People just kill women and children and don't think anything about it. They don't believe the way we do, so we'll kill these poor souls. Oh, my God. Have some more meat. Oh, I'm going to try this. The consensus on circulatory issues seems to be that fruits, berries, and melons provide the vessels the energies they need to repair big time. And this is also true with the aspect of flavonoids in them. Flavonoids are real powerful healers of the vascular wall. And of course, that's all fruits, berries, and melons in particular, but vegetables in a minor degree, absolutely. Absolutely. You guys are good. But good awareness, because this is what it is. And when you go back to your non-meat eating societies like the Jesus, the Essenes, the agnostics, these weren't meat eaters. And when you start looking at all that, and Buddha, and you start looking at this meatless eaters, you start to realize why they're doing this. But when you look at it just from a perspective of health, it's nasty. dead tissue. And the longer it's aged, the better it is. So we just cut the bacteria off and make penicillin out of the mold. Oh, but mold is like blue-green algae, right? It's all fungus at one level or another. Good for you, right? Oh, this is Levi. When you were fruitarian, why aren't you anymore? Good question, Levi. I wish I could. Well, one good reason, if I was in the save, perhaps in the tropics, that would be hard for me not to have a good excuse, wouldn't it? Hard up in the States, in some parts of the world, to be a fruitarian. And I energetically couldn't handle it. I couldn't stay in my body. I vibrationally couldn't handle it. If I was talking to you and giving you a discourse on God and out-of-body travels, I flatly would just leave my body. So it was so powerful, and I was so immature. I was only 20 years old. So I had to come down. I had to ground myself. I was becoming ungrounded. And so I realized the importance of balance. And yes, I do believe the human can become a fruitarian as his body dictates. But I think you're going to have to work ourselves back out of this, just like the last gentleman said, the taste of the meat, the mental conditioning that we've had. But you moms and dads that are raising your babies on raw, you're the saviors. You're the saviors of the planet. Because it is those babies that will stand at the pinnacle of spirituality and life and be able to discourse man on how to be well. So you guys are so much vital to the future of this world. I can't even overtell you. Because the other babies are getting mutated and dying, as sad as it is. But we could still sit back in our chairs and call us professors of complementary medicine and put out bull crap that's not even true and sit back in our chair while the human race dies from our thinking, our intellectualism, because people bought into that crap without thinking. They trusted someone that was academically smart. What the hell do these universities teach? Many long-term fruitarians develop deficiencies. I'm confused. I don't know any long-term fruitarians. And I don't know what that would be, All I can tell you is there's no deficiency when you're eating foods that are grown right and picked ripe. There is no deficiencies. If there's any deficiencies, it's from malabsorption, adrenals, lack of proper utilization, things like that. But I will concur with you that it's very difficult in today's world to be a fruitarian. I don't really advocate it. But if you can, you're going to be way out there. And if you can handle that level of energy, it's incredible. But if you have a good diet of predominantly fruits, berries, and melons with a salad or some green drinks, you're at the top of the nutritional chain of life. What more would you want? Anything else is by taste, because anything down from your produce section is dead. Anything down from there is not food, really. I mean, you call beans and grains food. I don't know if I'd call that food. I really don't call meat food. That's someone's tissues that you're eating, thinking that it's food. Not too good. Thanks for that, though. Very difficult. But I predominantly eat fruit. That's my favorite, fruits, berries, and melons. If we start growing good fruit and picking it ripe and changing the way we do things, and we could live a lot longer and be stronger. But northern climate's tough with fruits. But why is it that the fruit is the only level that can get you well? It's the only level that can rebuild neurological conditions. It's the only level that can remove deeper tumors and things. How come we get complete regeneration of the human body with fruits and we don't with vegetables, and yet you're saying we get deficiencies? I don't get what you're talking about with that. I've had unreal cases, unbelievable cases of regeneration with just fruits, berries, and melons. How do you explain that if it leaves you deficient? Don't know. You have to think about it. Kim, here's a rundown autoimmune thyroid. Oh, I think I already read this one. Good. Good. Let me read one more. Oh, it's Julia. Dear wise one. Oh, I don't know about that. thanks for the comment. I hope it's not bad down below that, but I have a weird question for you. I like weird. I do. Let's hear it. When I remember back to events in my life, my memory is from a fly on a wall perspective, insofar as not in my body. Interesting. Out of body, huh? Love that. At the time I knew I was experiencing the event in my body. So why is my memory from outside? Well, think about this. Let's use the word soul. For lack of there is no words to define your allness. There's no words to define you, because you're of the infinite part of life. And that infiniteness is referred to as consciousness, intelligence, awareness. Very few words in the human language can define something that is the all of the all, and you're part of that. So the reference in most spiritual scriptures and stuff and religious texts and stuff is the soul. So for lack of understanding, let's say that the soul, which is you, the individual aspect of the one, where there's no duality, where you're beginning to experience the infinite part of yourself. Your awareness is 360 degrees. The only reason you're limiting your awareness from your physical eyes is you've allowed yourself to accept this as the real you. And it's not. It's only a body you're using. So your awareness is way outside of the human body. All you have to do is stop thinking, stop chasing thoughts, and stop desiring, and just living in that moment. Jesus, Buddha, all these people taught this. J. Krishnamurti, big teacher of this. You learn how to be in the present moment. You learn to think outside and to be in that ever-present awareness. There's no thought in that awareness. There's nothing but awareness. You're just an observer, but a very conscious observer. And you'll be able to see, when you can pull back, you can see all your bodies. I remember a friend of mine tried to trap me at school once with that. How many stages did I step back? Pretty good. So you got levels, and you can step back in consciousness, because each body demands your attention to turn it on. If you put your attention over here or outside of the body, your attention is away from your human body. If you relax this to the point that you can just pop out, you're free from it, and you can journey wherever you want to go. But these type of experiences are fun, because they begin to teach you that you're so much more than this little shell of the human body. And that's too cool. That is so cool. So you definitely have the spiritual variety, my dear one. So you just keep working with that. Keep working with quieting yourself, not using your mind, becoming the observer, the watcher of life. Let these things just unfold. Let life work itself through you. Instead of you being the director, step back. There's a bigger director. At the time, I knew I was experiencing the event. I've asked several people about this, and no one else I've asked seems to experience memory in this way. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, and keep digging. You can go to the Akashic Records in the causal world, and you can see multitudes of your experiences and feel them. That's the problem. You want to be careful, because you can re-enter into an old experience, and some of them are not so cool. So, I mean, you are unlimited beings. If I could excite each and every one of you to grow spiritually, let me, because it's exciting. This is a very limited, mundane world with people thinking like this medical professor that, they're lost. Incredibly lost. And so you don't want to be lost, because it's a long time getting back sometimes from these advanced lost states. So this is good. I love this. This makes me wonder, whose perspective is this? I wonder. Who's the real you? That's why I always say, find yourself a closet, find yourself a cave, an RV, Find yourself someplace that's just yours, your man-woman cave, and you dig yourself. You get into yourself. You quiet that mind. You don't chase rainbows and desires. You want to be able to see what exists. Well, how can you see truth with a conditioned mind? You can't see truth with the mind because the mind is totally a conditioned instrument. That's why we have academics, education, but that isn't the awareness of the individual. Far make a mistake about that. This guy's academics has overshadowed his awareness. And therefore he has no common sense. He can't see anything other than what he was educated to see. That's bad education. And that's what's wrong with our educational systems. It's training too many elitist, narcissistic individuals. And therefore we have hell here to pay. And most of those are not into the spirituality of individuality and constitutions and freedoms. These are the guys that like socialisms. Everybody wear the same clothes. Everybody look the same. Everybody act the same. Everybody walk in file lines. You see those on futuristic commercials and movies that scares the holy crap out of you. Well, that's what socialism, elitism is all about. The few control the many. Because they're the only ones smart enough to. Because they're academically educated. You see where I'm going with all this? This is what makes worlds cold, closes them off, and the negative forces consume the spiritual forces. Well, unless there's people being channels for the spiritual forces and being aware of themselves at higher levels and getting out of their minds, no one would know to do it. You always have to have your teachers, your gurus, your vigurus, your way showers. But they must be careful not to get trapped. My dogs and I are loving your herbs and videos, by the way. I love you, Julia. Thanks so much, Julia. Thanks you so much. Keep practicing out-of-body experiences. Keep practicing expanding yourself because there's no limit. And the awareness and what you can see, what you can experience, and the joy and the happiness. And then we come back to these material chemical bodies. It's easy to understand why they're sick. And it's not that difficult to fix them. Some of you might take a few years to fix yourself. So what? Have fun doing it. Even though you're in pain, know you're on a journey to wellness. Because now you're understanding truth, not idiocy. You're understanding truth and how it applies to chemistry and physics at this level. You're understanding not to be fear anymore, not to be fear-driven, because that's the only way allopathic has achieved their level is through fear. So they come up with diseases and scary things and things that hurt you. You don't need that. That's ridiculous. That's a killing machine, not a health machine. We're the health machine. We always have been the health machine. So I love you all. And I'll be back to finish these videos. I'm just going to keep on going with them. And we'll just, break at each one of them and pick up where we left off. So I love you guys. Unfortunately, you're not going to get these videos until Chris gets back Monday morning. So I would say have a fun weekend, but you won't get this. Excuse me. You hear all that? Now, we all get mucus out when we detoxify. Oh, wait a minute, we can't detoxify. Let's just keep all this stuff in us. That'd be fun too, wouldn't it? Love you guys. Take care of yourself and enjoy expanding yourselves. Enjoy spirituality. Enjoy opening your heart and giving love again. We're all closing off. Can't do that. You got to keep yourself open and full of love and joy because nothing matters but you. This is all you. This is all your experience. Everything in your life you brought into it. Granted, unconsciously, this is part of how we learn about becoming conscious. Is all the unconscious things we do. And the ones that kick us back in the teeth. So have fun and enjoy growth and giving and hugging others. It's a good thing. Till the next time. May the blessings be.